guys, welcome back to Clockwork Dandy Noodles for another breakdown of To Your Eternity Season 2, episode number 4. One hell of an episode. We've got quite a few different reveals going on. And I even found myself thinking back to my days of my dissertation. I'll go into those when we get there. If you are curious, my midway review is finally up on the channel, where I have crowned top 3 OPs, EDs and current standing animes for the first half. If you are curious, go check out what I decided to put on my list. It was very difficult to crown. There is so much good anime going on. But without further ado, I think it's time to break into this episode, where we actually have perhaps the coolest effect and use of Fushi's power. Fushi just walking, chill, and creating bricks under his feet. I love this moment because I thought it was really cool. Bon is still planning to become the king, despite the fact that we know that his brother is second in line. We see even a bit further down the line that his dad has put it in writing. If the king was to die right now, it would be the brother that would be crowned, not Bon. Initially at the start, we do see that the world still views Fushi as an evil being. They see Bon as this hero that has captured Fushi. The interesting moment where Bon decides to call out the narrator and ask him the question, what is he going to grant Fushi if he's able to achieve his goal? The answer is freedom, which is a bit of an interesting one. Like, what would he do? I mean, Fushi is immortal, and if he is granted his freedom, he's going to be roaming the earth forever. And if he is dead, he then gets reborn again as an orb and he starts it all over. I would wonder how far the idea of freedom goes, unless he's going to grant him the ability to die or something. Morbid thought from me here. I did also think that Fushi looks very dead inside because he's essentially experienced 200 years of pain, 200 years of suffering. Whole argument, would you like to live forever? Always comes down to the thing that you would eventually see everybody you care about die around you, and you would make friends and they would die. This is always the argument that I feel with immortality, is the idea that you're gonna end up being on your own. You'll eventually get to the point when you don't want to go through the pain anymore. We saw with Fushi in the break. The violin rendition of To Your Eternity's main theme was absolutely haunting and beautiful. Love the main theme for this anime. There's quite a few really nice orchestral renditions out there on the internet. Something about the song and the score itself just carrying the mystery, carrying the flow of To Your Eternity. I think it is written in a minor key, but it sounds happy, so there's always this tinge of sadness to the song. How grateful Bon is for getting a crab from Fushi, despite the fact that the crab is nothing more than just the shell of a being, because Fushi can't create a soul or anything. Bon does task Fushi this week with taking a lover, maybe making some friends, or learning how to smile. I appreciate the comedy aspect this week as well. Breath of fresh air for the Pain Train family that we are, and getting some comedy this week, getting to hang out with Bon as well. In this moment, the rich kids all freaking out because of the cesspit. This is where I started to think about my dissertation. And for those who don't know, my dissertation was on medicine. Going from a popular medicine, which you would get by word of mouth, to scientifically proven medicine and how the idea of medicine has come about throughout the early modern period. It's that moment where we see the kid getting poo on his head and me starting to wonder, I wonder what their medicine and health knowledge is in this period of time, whether they are going to realise that this cesspit is going to be the creation of waterborne and airborne diseases, open cesspit that they have, and the fact that it seems to be going into the river, which is probably where they're getting their drinking water from. Props to them, they do actually dose Todo in some water to try cleaning him up, but it does make you wonder, do you fully understand why you're cleaning him up, or is it because he stinks? So do you understand why you have to clean after you've come in contact with microbes that could cause you harm? Todo's happiness and perhaps love for Bon creates this happy glow, and thank you to everybody in the comments who have given a bit more information on these glowing things that we're seeing in this season. It was a feature that was skipped in season 1, but it is positive learning and reinforcement for Fushi. When Fushi experiences something happy or senses love, kindness, it's creating this happy memory that I'm guessing is allowing Fushi to grow as a being. Fushi going to Kohaku to ask about love. It felt really bad as well. It's teasing poor Kohaku, who actually has a crush really bad on Fushi. It's the idea that Fushi is now starting to get curious about this thing that he's hearing a lot about, the idea of love. Is it possible for two men to love each other? I think he senses that Todo is in love with Bon, which is perhaps the first step on Fushi's journey to understanding love, is he's able to pick up, maybe through the help of these glowing things, Todo does love Bon in that way. He's able to recognize it as love, not just he's my friend and I enjoy being with him. That's when we have Fushi starting to delve into what love is. I like the response that we do get from Kahaku, but obviously there's motivations behind why he answers in the way that he does, because he starts to push. If you're a guy and you want to fall in love with a guy, I totally think that's a thing that can happen. Fushi says, I've spent a lot of time as a guy, I would fall in love with a female. That's when Kahaku notices that actually I probably won't have a chance with Fushi if his preference is females. But that's when he starts to say, actually, I think it's okay if men want to fall in love with each other. It's probably okay. It can happen. But you're now female. I think it's okay. So he tries to keep himself in with a chance, which I feel really bad. But I don't think Fushi sees Kahaku in that way. Fushi this week going from evil to the Best Bonist award, which I think is all part of Bon's plan to raise Fushi's status in the eyes of the public. So he's no longer being seen as a bad thing. He's no longer this guy who was on the wanted posters. He's now being seen as the best Bonist, somebody who is smiling at the crowd. While he does try his best to smile, it's a blessed moment for all of us this week. We get to see our boy trying to crack a smile. He doesn't feel anything behind it, but he does try his best, which is what I really do appreciate. But let's go into the twist, the big twist about Bon. The fact that Bon is raised, or has Tonari raising Bon. 15 years, so she dies for 15 years, then Fushi goes into his depression cycle of just eating and becoming round. That is the moment where the ghost of her goes to find Bon. Bon can see ghosts, perhaps the future. I'm going to put quotations, perhaps he can see the future. Possibility of him suddenly becoming king could still be there. Whether something bad happens, whether his brother ends up taking one for the team, whether disease that I've mentioned earlier gets to him. I can imagine even in this period of time, it still is claiming a lot more lives than the knockers are, because the knockers are apparently only killing like 13k. Disease kills triple, quadruple that amount. So it's a possibility that he will become king, but whether he takes it because the actual king dies, whether he takes it by force or not, I still think there could be something darker lurking within Bon. But that also then makes us think back to the last episode where we see these episodes. I'm going to say that with inverted quotes here. Did he really have an episode, or is he actually seeing ghosts? And he's actually seeing these apparitions. And to everybody around him, even his mother, we see him appearing as schizophrenic or appearing as crazy. Bon's first love, the maker of the handkerchief, that's really important to him. And when we look at it, Todo questions whether this is actually the handkerchief because it doesn't feel like it matches Ghost, or maybe she's real. Got the idea that she was actually a ghost, but she's able to give him a real handkerchief, which is weird. But there's some really weird things that we do touch on this anime, so it's not the weirdest thing that's probably capable of happening. But let's go into darker themes and an answer to the question I actually found myself asking earlier. Medicine. The question earlier about how much they understand about medicine is answered 100% when they decide to bloodlet Bon because they see him believing in devils. Yeah, medicine in this period is still at the medieval knowledge level, sadly. We don't understand germ theory. We don't understand that open cesspits cause disease. Flowing into water is a bad thing, especially if you're reusing that water in the city. I'm half expecting this season of To Your Eternity to go into the disease area, but they decide to bloodlet him because they believe he's seeing devils. Nobody actually believes him when he's seeing these ghosts. So eventually I believe he passes it off as episodes as opposed to anything else. But that could also be the reason why they've decided to skip him for being a king, because you're seeing things probably not fit to be a king, despite the fact that we end up seeing that the king decides to choose his brother because of how his brother is helping the people, who is aiding everybody. He's giving money to the orphans. He's spending time doing things that a good king really should do, whilst Bon is wasteful. He's being flamboyant, ends up wasting money on jewels and fashion, and yes, sure, he's living his best life, but that's not what being a king is all about. And being a king is this pillar of community, and that's not what we're getting when it comes to Bon right now. So this ends up causing that spark of jealousy, the anger within him, the drive to perhaps do better and find a way of upstaging his brother. And that is when Fushi becomes the biggest flex in the kingdom. Fushi, the moment when Bon finally sees Fushi, finds out that he is real, because Tonari has been telling these stories, but he hasn't quite believed the stories just yet. Fushi and the Parade of Ghosts. I actually love this moment so much when Fushi's just walking very solemnly. Whether Fushi can sense the people behind him or not, I don't know, because we've seen this idea before where Fushi is there mourning the loss of somebody and that person will be there in the room, but he can't sense them. So Fushi can't sense ghosts, but Bon can. And Bon sees every single person walking behind him. And they're happy to follow Fushi, but Fushi wearing a expression of sorrow, an expression of just sadness. Tonari perhaps sees Bon as a person of goodness, somebody that she wanted to lead to Fushi. I want you to come to Fushi. You are a good person, or this is somebody I want you to become friends with. Tonari must have had a plan. This is Tonari's plan to get Bon to meet Fushi. But is Bon seeing the lesson behind being led to Fushi, or are you just simply seeing Fushi as your ticket to the throne? I still see that darkness within Bon. It's actually been a while since we've had a death. Touch wood, 3 episodes now in the clear. I do feel like we need one of those boards, the 3 days without incidents type thing. But I'm really liking the pacing of the second season. I'm actually enjoying getting a bit more world building going on. Naturally, death will raise its head at some point. I think we perhaps might have a death coming our way next episode because of the teaser at the end. But it is very interesting to see a bit more growing when it comes to Fushi and Bon offering to help Fushi make things that you haven't seen, or I will help you expand your knowledge. You're going to be able to create everything. Even if Bon is a bad person, Bon is serving our needs when it comes to Fushi. He's offering an army, he's offering to help expand his knowledge, he's offering to go out there with Fushi to learn and actually defeat the knockers. Even if he is going to turn bad and betray Fushi just because he wants to get on the throne, he's at least helping Fushi for now, so I'm chill with it. Where are we going next week? It's one hell of an episode. I'm really enjoying this season. Hopefully you guys are also enjoying the season as I am. Thank you guys so much for tuning in each week. You guys are the most chatty and the most responsive video right now airing on the channel. So I have so much thanks for you guys right now. I'm so appreciative that you guys have come back. I get to talk about To Your Eternity with you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and I hope your week is going well. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.